6 feet and over dating bullshit. Like, think about it. If height was really the only thing that men were judged on, the average person would be having 0 sex, who's 6 feet would have 20 bodies by 14. However, that just isn't the case. Real one saw my Twitter post. Men like this are out here getting more bitches than you, dog. And I don't know how many people this might trigger, but like making this video kind of made me kind of eerie about the whole male loneliness, male virginity crisis stuff.
I am a menace. Keep me around. What's good, YouTube? Back here with another video. Before we get into the video, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on Instagram, follow me on my Twitch, and if you want to see gaming reactions,
I got one of them goddamn legs over here. Here you go.
you can follow me on my main channel. Let's get into it.
KD, height does matter a lot, actually. If you're 5'8" in this world, you might as well be a femboy. I don't need to see it for myself. Just look at this graph. Alright, boys, I know you read the title. You're probably thinking I'm about to be on the heaviest dosage of copium known to man. Borderline lethal dosages. You probably think I'm going to talk about the same old stuff about confidence being the most important thing and how height is extremely overhyped. It's almost right. As the title suggests, I am in belief that height is gassed the hell up online, and it's not as important in real life as the internet makes it out to be. Notice my wording, not as important, and I'll get into that later. But before I do that, let's start at the beginning. Let's first address why this topic even matters to people in the first place. And there are a bunch of things I've heard regarding this topic, but let's be honest, there's only one thing that makes this whole obsession a topic to even begin with. You know it, I know it, it's the hoes, the bitches, we all want women. Be honest with yourself.
Alright, here's my take on it. I think it matters to a degree. And I only say that because I feel like height matters if you... I feel like height matters if you don't have other attributes that can offset it. Now, granted, it depends on the girl, because some girls are strictly like, they're not going to deal with that regardless. But I mean, if you got the looks or if you got money, you could be 5'2" and have all the hoes. I'm just saying. Some of the niggas I know that have the most hoes are under 5'5".
Stuff right now. Did you really expect me to make a 10-minute video on how height doesn't affect your ability to make money? Bro, I know you basement dwellers who care about this shit don't give a fuck about how it affects you financially. Y'all have no motion to begin with. Like, these guys could be shit broke, but as long as they were getting pussy every once in a while, they wouldn't even make a peep about height. They just want the hoes. However, judging by social media, it seems obtaining the hose is now impossible for 90% of guys.
That sure makes me laugh,
every
bro.
girl out there will only be happy with a guy over 6 foot. Like, just look at these TikToks. It's clearly the only thing that matters to over 4 billion people.
Sorry, I'm not into short guys.
That is so weird, bro. Why would you even want a nigga to do that to you? Nigga, you just been so...
Come here.
That's
First
crazy.
off, shorty, respectfully, you do not have the credentials to be shooting that high. No pun intended. You
That's
barely
crazy.
pushing 5 foot yourself.
That's crazy.
You are 2 inches away from being class.
This is the crazier part too. Like, I've heard this conversation so much, especially like girls would be like, I want 6 foot niggas. But like, how do you if you're not that height yourself or close, so if you're not a female and you're like 5'8", 5'9", to where you can actually tell the difference, how do you tell the difference between 5'10" and 6 foot? Answer me, riddle me this. Answer me that. How do you tell the difference between 5'10" and 6 foot if you're a female under 5'8", 5'5"? How?
As a dwarf, you don't even know what 6 foot looks like. A 5'7" motherfucker looks giant to you, you buffoon. But yeah, height is something that is an obsession nowadays. A fad, something that's really only gotten popular like a few years ago when you think about it.
Probably,
Now, I remember when I was
always
growing
been
up,
a
the
session
biggest celebrity crushes were like 5'8" Zac Efron, Leonardo DiCaprio, bowl cut Justin Bieber at 5'4", 5'5" Josh Hutcherson. Like, height wasn't a stat that rang in.
But that's what I was talking about earlier in the video. Like, yes, height can be a factor, but at the same time, if you have enough credentials going for you outside of height, that can always supersede it. Like, some of the most wealthiest and richest people are under 6 foot. Like, they got all the hoes to be under 6 foot. But like, people will still be like, oh, height's a thing, height matters. Yes, height matters to a degree, and to certain people, yes, that is like the give or take. That's the cutoff. If you under that, you're not getting on this ride. But for most people, or for most women, you can always overcome that some way, shape, or form.
People's brains back then. It wasn't so obsessed over. However, nowadays we got videos circling the internet like this.
How short is too short for a guy?
So if you're under 6 foot and not an MLB player, I don't want you. You can fly back home to wherever you came from and just like stop talking to me.
Shut your ass up. And I know what you may be thinking.
Crazy
why
shit,
is
MLB
height seen
player.
as so important for
Like-
guys in the first place?
like
Well,
most
you
of
already
them
know
are
why.
Hispanic.
Because it's been said at least 30 times over by people way further on the spectrum than me. It's because of the ooga booga instincts and intimidation. We're animals at the end of the day, even if we try to pretend we aren't. And become vegans because
Yeah.
animal cruelty, you're a murderer for eating animals. So is the lion I have stuffed in my back pocket. Let's see how much he cares about your life when he hasn't eaten all day. Pussy.
That's true.
Taller and bigger animals likely had more survival capability because they were perceived as stronger and physically imposing, which warded off predators and aided in hunting and gathering. So it's no wonder why this trait is seen as more desirable to have in
But
your
that's why I said it's not that. This wasn't just a today problem or a social media problem. This has always been a thing since we've been on this earth. Like, women naturally want people that they feel is going to be able to protect them, and they see a bigger man as being able to protect them better than a shorter man. It's simple. It's simple at that point. But at the same time, that's not always the case.
life. Strong equal live. We seek strong, we seek tall. And again, I know what you're thinking, but that time is long past. We're in civil times. We don't have to worry about that
It's
stuff.
biology.
So why does it still matter? Well, because we still have the tendency to seek out these monkey desires because our brains only grew more complex. For instance, my more Homo sapien thought process perceives my taste for boobies as just a liking for boobies. However, on a more monkey level, it's about fertility and health. And in the same vein, while height in terms of survival is for the most part not as important nowadays, the sectors of our brain still perceive tall guys with the halo effect. They're seen on a subconscious level as more confident, more protective and better leaders, more capable. Hence, tall men are more desirable. So you get the idea. Tall is attractive because tall signifies capability. And a lot of guys are convinced by the TikTok thirsting of height that the main reason that their life sucks is because they're the same height as 90% of people on this planet. And if they were the exact same person but in a 6'4" body, violent autism and all, they'd go from school threat to captain of every sports team and just drown in pussy, just non-stop. And to begin explaining why I think this is not the case, let me quickly play you.
I can agree with Big Butts. I think it probably wouldn't be the case for most people because you still like you'll get in the door, sure, but you still gotta like bring stuff to you still gotta close, you feel me? Like you still gotta close the deal, you feel me? Now me, I'll be a menace.
This TikTok.
Short man, tall. What is that, girl? What are you talking about? You know exactly.
God
what
may
I'm
be
talking
short for a
about.
reason.
When a guy is short, but like,
Yeah,
no,
y'all
he's
niggas a
not.
chance.
He's not like it doesn't even count. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Like, just listen to her words, bro. When he's short, but like,
no,
no, he's not. You heard it here, folks. I can confidently say I identify as 6'4". So if you aren't picking up what I'm trying to put down right now, what I and this girl in the TikTok are trying to explain is that height is not much else but a halo effect, an assumption of value and skills as a person that can be proven right or wrong. I like to compare the importance of height to tits for a girl. Like for most people, it's nice. I like it, but it's not like a make or break. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that are valued.
Well, it depends. It depends on who you are, though. I think that one depends on who you are because, like, if you like you're a tit guy, that could be a deal breaker. If you an ass guy, it's like, baby, don't worry about that shit. As long as you know what I'm saying. Don't worry about that shit.
Over tits, in my opinion. KD, you're wrong. Actually, watch this video.
That's where we invited groups of women to look at the men and choose a date. In this case, we wanted to see if anyone would pick 5'3" Rob. When Andrea told us women like doctors, we gave him an MD. Their choice?
Andrew. I would say Matt, I think.
No, Rob. What would it take to get a date for Stu at just 5 feet? First, we made him an up-and-coming actor.
No.
No.
Not.
Then we said Stu had made millions by age 25.
No.
No.
Damn.
Nothing worked.
Stu, you're just not that guy.
Nobody picks Stu.
He's too short.
Too short. Too short.
We asked if there was anything we could add to make Stu irresistible.
Maybe the only thing you could say is that the other 4 are murderers.
Right.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. If they probably said that too, they probably still would pick them. I'm just saying.
I've seen this video a couple times before. This might be a controversial take, and excuse me for sounding like a person whose wife has a boyfriend, but to me it seems like these girls are picking these guys based almost purely on physical attributes alone. Like the fucking Tinder bio that they're given for these girls to rate isn't enough. They have no other info to go off of. No info on character or their past, no way to know if they'd be compatible. Just here's a bunch of good things, but their appearance differs. Pick your man. Oh, what a shock. The tall man gets picked. Oh my God.
In one last group of women. When they all picked this fellow, we told them he'd been unemployed for 2 years, but that our David was a chief surgeon.
I guess it would be David for me. Yeah.
Like, to me, this experiment is just real life Tinder.
Facts.
Does that not ring to anybody else? Also,
Facts.
the funny thing about this video is that I've always only saw the part with the girls picking the well-rounded tall man over the godly short man. However, the part that's always excluded is this guy.
There you are.
One man who deliberately and publicly does own up to his size is Robert Reich, the United States Secretary of Labor.
Do you think of yourself primarily as a short man?
I have to say, honestly, I don't.
After spending an hour with him, neither do I. Secretary Reich has reached the top in a world that tries to keep short men down. He is happily married to a woman 9 inches taller and has been friends for 3 decades with his towering commander-in-chief.
Like, bro, this is the godly short man from the experiment. Look how it differs in real life and not in hypothetical.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it comes to like a face-to-face, the short person's always gonna be at a disadvantage because it's just a face value thing. There's no additional, like, you're lining people up. They're always gonna pick the person that they see at that point in time because they don't know nothing about anybody. They haven't had a conversation with anybody, none of that. Shoot, a tall guy could be a fucking asshole for all I care. And the short guy could be sweet as hell. But they wouldn't know that because they're not talking. But like once you get to like talk or like actually get to deep dive into somebody, then things may change.
Circumstances. And that's because I, and the girl from the video, am trying to explain that height is just one attribute and how you can bypass it is to become the kryptonite of incels. Confident and outgoing, or as this person puts it, short man tall. Because if you have these anxieties and mental blocks, it prevents you from developing, quote, tall traits like self-confidence and interpersonal skills, pushing you down the social ladder because you're not as valued to people's lives. Ain't nobody want to be around or respect a motherfucker who's not funny, depressing, moody, self-deprecatory. Like, they just want to be around someone vibrant and fun. And don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware that how you're treated and received while growing up plays a big role in, quote, short mindsets. Like, I know there are people on that side of the internet who complain that they feel shunted in social settings, but I assure you, if you're not like abnormally chopped, your appearance likely isn't the reason for your feelings. I promise you. Like, I don't know about y'all, but back in school, the quote, popular people weren't a band of the most physically attractive people in the school. Most of them were just really personable. They were just fun to talk to and were outgoing. And they were able to click well with people. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that most people... I wouldn't even say that's a short person thing, though. I think that's just like a people thing. I think people put way too much value and stock on what other people think. And that always is the detriment of people. Like, who cares you're short? Fuck it. Go out there and have fun. Have a great life. And that's just not gonna stop. Who cares that you don't have the biggest boobs per se? Who the fuck cares? Go live your life, have fun. I think the moment when people stop like relying so heavily on other people's viewpoints and how they feel about them, you'll be 10 times better of a person.
That's all you have to be liked and valued by people. You have to actually just put yourself out there. And you blaming height for the reason people don't like you is wild. Like, ain't nobody owe you shit. You have to go out and get it.
It's
also,
a crutch
going
or something.
back to the whole 6 feet and over dating bullshit, like, think about it. If height was really the only thing that men were judged on, the average person would be having zero sex. Absolutely zip. And
technically speaking, if that was the case, right? If it was strictly that case, right? We probably need to be a civilization anymore, to be fair. Because yes, the tall people reproduce all the women, but at the same time, I think people fail to realize that like the bigger people are, the more you have to consume, and the more you have to consume, the more that you have to take from the planet. And but it's a finite amount of resources that you can have. So it's still not a good solution regardless.
Your friend who's 6 feet would have 20 bodies by 14. However, that just isn't the case. Real one saw my Twitter post. Men like this are out here getting more bitches than you, dog. And I don't know how many people this might trigger, but like making this video kind of made me kind of eerie about the whole male loneliness, male virginity crisis stuff. However, now I think it was just a blanket statement used by alpha male YouTubers to portray it as like, oh, anyone.
Man, look, I'm gonna be honest. This has kind of been in my mind real lately, bro. All this terminology and shit that you fucking hear, bro, all this shit came out of fucking nowhere. Before the pandemic, before all this shit, bro, you never heard about none of this shit, bro. None of that. All of a sudden, there's all these flash terms and buzzwords and all this shit, bro. No, bro, that shit is not real. None of this shit is real, bro. I don't know why people are so invested in this shit, bro, but none of it is real, bro. Alpha males, beta males, fucking incels, femcells, dimcells, shimcells, whatever the fuck you want. None of that shit is real, bro. None of that shit is
who's
real.
not in the top 20% are having all the women stolen by the rich, tall 20%. Buy my course and join if you want to get laid, you pathetic virgin. Because there's hundreds of average people, as we speak, just in the club trying to get a stinky hookup. The people who aren't getting laid right now are the, quote, mentally short guys that don't go outside, don't have friends, don't go to social events like festivals, concerts, theme parks, even bars, clubs, and parties. It's the people who just sit inside and scroll Reddit all day that are getting zero bitches. It's not because you're not tall enough, it's because you're figuratively a dwarf. Like, you sitting there right now are probably getting outfucked by a guy less attractive than you, who doesn't go to the gym, doesn't look smacks or jelk. He's in and around average height, maybe 1 to 2 inches below or above, but he's just shooting his shot every weekend like Devin Booker, trying to bag someone. And don't.
Because look, at the end of the day, fellas, if it's anything you want to learn from this video, it's a numbers game. You know what I'm saying? Practice makes perfect. And you know what? Putting up shots in the gym, by the time the game time come, your shot gonna be nice. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta keep shooting in order to get better. You think Steph Curry is Steph Curry because he just decided, oh, our birth, all right, cool, the game here. Nah, he been practicing for hours. He probably got millions of shots at this point.
Don't get me wrong, pretty privilege does exist. I'm not trying to deny that it's easier to be all the good things when you're tall or physically attractive or both, because again, halo effect. I do feel for the guys who are like way below average height or have some sort of genetic disadvantage that gets them ridiculed off the bat. I'm not saying we shouldn't have at least some sort of sympathy or empathy for these people, because they're just less fortunate. But also look at this guy. Look at him. He's a G. My point is that you sitting here right now, you average guy, if you feel like you're not getting any bitches or that people don't show you good energy and you feel lonely, and as a man you blame your physical appearance, like unless you're really chopped, like you make my stomach hurt with one glance, you could become way more liked than you think, because guys are valued for more than just their appearance. That much we all know.
That's the thing I don't think guys understand. Like you can literally trade off. There's a whole bunch of areas that you can improve on that can get you results, whereas women have it a lot harder because it's, for the most part, it's strictly based off of looks. So if you're chopped as a woman, like you're chopped, like it's gonna be hard. There's not a lot for you. There's not a lot of wiggle room for you to really get what you want. You have to, at that point, you kind of shit SOL. Whereas guys, we can be short and ugly, but if we're famous and got a whole bunch of money, we cool. Like, or you could be broke. You could be broke as hell, but if you short and handsome, you can do that. Like it's a lot of ways to counteract it. Whereas like women have it harder because if you're not good looking, like if you're really not good looking as a woman, which is, I mean, it's hard because, you know, y'all designed to be beautiful, I'm not gonna lie. But if you're not, that's a real bad end to stick.
We're judged more on capability, and so we can offer things to increase our value to people and make us more well perceived. You can get lean, put on muscle, and clean yourself up, but that's it. That's all you can and should do in terms of appearance. You don't bone smash, you don't jelk, you don't sit online and watch compilations of pictures
BBL
of
legs
next to some sexy motherfucker. Oh my god, he mogged him. He mogged him. He mogged. So instead of worrying about the one thing in the multitude of things that give you value as a person in people's lives, be in acknowledgement of what you can't change and spend your time learning things that'll make you happier and more confident. Whatever that may be. Become pleasant to be around. Smile more. Take interest in others. Develop social awareness. Like, know when you're hanging around like a bad smell when people actually like you. Hell, even looks max if you have to.
I ain't gonna lie though. Most times for guys, this is the one thing I have noticed, right? Let's just say, even if you're short, ugly, and broke, all types of shit. If you have very good social awareness and very good emotional intelligence and social awareness, bro, that shit can overcome that shit too. Like, you know exactly the right times and moments for things. Like, that sometimes is all it takes. A lot of guys don't have a lot of good social awareness. Like, they don't be knowing, like, all right, I can proceed, or let me back off for a second, or this is a 50-50 zone, so how I will maneuver around it. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of guys don't know that. They don't have good situational or social awareness. They have a lot of good social awareness.
Just don't go too deep, because that shit is like the alpha male rabbit hole, but for chronic masturbators. And if attraction is what you're going after, again, developing skills that increase your capability, having a sense of humor, interpersonal skills and awareness gets your money up. And most importantly, I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, stop circle jerking with people sadder than you in an echo chamber, overemphasizing things that are probably 10th at best on your list of things you need to improve. And if anything you see online makes you feel hopeless, just know that if someone doesn't respect you based on a fucking fantasy, on a character assumption that you can't change, it sounds patronizing, I know, but don't be so bitter at it. Don't curse the cruel world you were born into. Just acknowledge these people are stupid and it's on them, and move on with making yourself happier, because everyone will like you regardless of who you are when you're up. So all I'm saying is this:
I'm the big dilf. Don't do that. $100 put you on in the bid at, you heard?
You know what I'm saying?
I do get letters from young people who know that I'm very short. Letters from kids who are also very short and who are in some pain emotionally, and they want my advice.
What is that advice?
You do have to accept the fact that other people may feel awkward. You've got to help them with their awkwardness. You've got to use humor. But being short should not stop you, I tell these young people. Should not in any way stop you from doing anything you want to do.
To Morocco, I got pretty women showing titties like I'm Flacco. I came in a hard top, I'm still in the drop.